Hi, it's Kevin from the website. This week's video for Continuing Classroom Classics is going to be on crossed hands. It's a short little move. You'll be able to practice it just about anywhere. So hang in there, we'll get into the details as soon as we come back. Alright, this move is kind of a cool move. Definitely it puts in some of the foundation exercises and particularly the danyu. So like we say, this is a great way to show off your danyus, practice your danyus, and if you practice this move lots, you'll get lots of danyus in. So pay attention to that. There's also going to be some of the wrist turning. You'll see that as we go through it. And also the turning, the rotating of the waist, the turning of the body. So pay attention to those things as we go through this, and I'll talk about them as we go through the move here. Let's get right into it here. So we're coming from the two-handed push after a parent close-up. So we've come back, we've turned the palms forward and done a two-handed push. So the weight's in the left leg. So you're forward into the front leg, the arms are extended. Now the way this move goes is you're going to push from that front leg and the arms come up and the wrists turn. So the palms turn up and then you turn the body and pivot on the heel, turn and pivot on the toe on the right foot and do a danyu. So you danyu down. Ah, feels so good. Cross the hands, push up, and step in at the top. So there's some timing things you want to pay attention to as you go through this. But the first thing I want to point out is don't start to turn too soon. When you come out of the push, the two-handed push, don't start turning right away, because what ends up happening is you just end up shifting the weight and then shifting the weight and then dropping down. So you're going to pivot one foot at a time, but you want to get the body up. So when you push with the foot, the hands go up, and notice I don't start turning yet. I just start to danyu out of that leg and let the body straighten up, and I turn the wrists so that the palms are turning upwards. And then when this leg gets straight, my body's upright, that's when I turn. So you push, and then turn and pivot, and then turn and pivot the right foot, and you start dropping down. Cross at the bottom, and then push up with the legs, and step in. So your feet will be roughly parallel. It doesn't have to be perfect. But we'll get to that in a minute. So like I was saying, when you push from this leg, you come up, so the body just straight. It starts to turn a little bit, but you don't want to get too quickly into the turn. Just straighten up the leg, pivot on the heel to get this foot turned in, pivot on the toe, and then you just drop. Quite often, people will sort of try and turn on both feet at the same time. And that kind of makes you a little wobbly, so if you're having balance issues, that's one of the things. The other thing is people will shift the weight here to turn this foot, shift the weight over here to turn this foot, and then try and recenter themselves to do the danyu. This is again thinking of the spiral kind of idea, is when you push up, the body comes up and turns, this foot turns, and you spiral down into the danyu. Then you come up and step in. So there's a little bit of maneuvering with the feet, but just at this point we're just going to talk about doing a straight down danyu and coming up in the middle. Watch again. Actually, I'll do it from this way so you can see from behind here. So two-handed push, push up, pivot on the heel, pivot on the toe, sit down. Cross the hands, push up, and step in at the top. So quite often, and thinking ahead, thinking of the next move to come, you want to make sure that when you step in, you don't step in too closely. When you push out, come up, pivot, pivot. So my feet are about shoulder width here. I sit down, so I don't want to step in too close. So I'm just going to move this foot in a little bit, because that'll give me room to turn my left foot in when I go into the next move. So this foot will pivot on the heel. If you step in too close, you're stuck. Your foot can't pivot in. So make sure you've got enough room when you do this, the stepping in at the top of the Danyu. One thing that came up and became kind of obvious, and I'll turn this way to do it, is when the feet aren't quite placed right. So if you're outstepped too far and you've got a lot of space between the feet on your two-handed push, number one, you're going to be falling into it. So just like you're doing with Toyus in the foundations, you want to make sure that you've got that straight line and one foot on either side of that center line, so that when you're forward in the two-handed push, your weight's balanced in this leg. Now when you pivot, so come up, turn and pivot on this foot, you want your feet pretty close to side by side. Now this one might be out a little bit, but if it's way over here, and I'll show you what I mean. If I were really outstepped when I do my two-handed push, what happens is the body shifts over to keep the leg under you, and when you turn here, you pivot this foot and pivot this foot. See how far my feet are out? So now I'm doing a Danyu with my feet kind of cockeyed on me. So you want to kind of have the feet fairly close to even, like a Danyu. And the way to get that is to make sure when you step out for your deflect parry punch that you get that alignment happening with the step. So you punch, you come back, sit down for a parent close-up and do the two-handed push. And then when you go into crossed hands, you can sit down, your feet are underneath you. And then when you step in, you just adjust it that little bit. Like I said, the feet aren't perfect. It's not a big deal. The key thing is making sure that when you Danyu, that you keep your hips and your knees open so that you can sit back and down into it, as opposed to sitting down into the knees. When you Danyu, you want to sit back and drop down into the feet. Lots of things going through my mind right now. I don't want to give you too much information, but I want to give you as much information as I can so that you can play around with this and work with it. A couple of points on the pivots is when this foot turns, you want to get it fairly close to 90 degrees, and when this one turns, fairly close to 90 degrees. So you're going down with maybe just a slight angle to it. When we do your Danyus, your toes are angled out slightly, so that's kind of where you want to be when you do the crossed hands Danyu. So you come up, turn, pivot, sit down. So your feet are much like a Danyu. Cross and come up. Have you had enough yet? Lots of fine tuning in here. We had somebody comment that they're not sure how much more the fine tuning they can take, but there's lots more. This is an ongoing process, and with each little detail, and you may only get one little bit, and you go through the set, and every time you hit cross hands, you might, okay, I connect with that. I feel that part of it. And then the second crossed hands, you might forget all about it. And that's what Shelley discovered. She did the first one okay, the second one she totally forgot to do everything, and then the third one, oh yeah. So gives you opportunity in the set to play around with these things, but don't worry too much if you don't get it while you're doing the set. That's why you break it down, go back to the move, play around with one move at a time, because then you can really start to hone in on some of these details, and a little bit at a time is fine. If you don't get it all right now, that's fine. You can watch the video again and go back to the details and see what we're talking about and try out the next little bit. So maybe let's do some follow along here with it. Now just to mention, there are 2 more crossed hands in the set. There are variations of doing the crossed hands that I think on the next one, so when we get to that move in the set, the second crossed hands, we'll throw some more stuff in on you. Just so you got some different things to play around with, another little different approach to it. So stay tuned for it. It's a ways down in the set, but we'll get there soon, and you'll have even more fun fine-tuning this move. So let's do some follow along. So we'll start off doing the 2-handed push this way, as if you're following me in the set, as if you're behind me. So we go into the 2-handed push after the apparent close-up. Hands come up, you push with the leg, palms turn up, fingertips turned in, pivot on the heel, pivot on the toe, sit back and down and drop the hands. Cross, come up, step in at the top. Okay, one more time. As if I really meant one more time. Hands up, pivot on the heel, pivot on the toe, sit down, cross hands, push up, and step in. Notice that the hands express, the arms express a little bit. So it's quite a rounded feeling when you get up here. So you don't want to come up and be all scrunched in. Have some expression. As you come up, express a little bit. 2-handed push. Push from the left leg, hands come up, body straight, turn, pivot, sit down, cross, and come up. Step in, not too close. Okay, let's do it this way as if you were beside me in the set. 2-handed push, hands up. Pivot on the heel, pivot on the toe, sit down, cross, push up, step in. One more time. My favorite saying, hands up, pivot, pivot, sit down, cross, and up, step in. Okay, let's do it facing this way a couple of times. Up, pivot, pivot, down you. Cross, down you, up, and step in. Try not to hold your breath as you do it. Come up, pivot, pivot, and just relax. Cross and relax as you come up. Okay? Play around with it some more on your own. And if you got any comments or any questions, don't hesitate to email us, get a hold of us. And you know the rest of it. Check out the website, like us on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tell all your classmates about us so they can get in on some of the fine-tuning as well. So I think that's it. Take care. We'll see you again. Bye.